On a Tuesday morning in March 2023, a piece of software passed a test that was never supposed to be passed in our lifetime. It scored in the 90th percentile on the bar exam. It aced the medical licensing exam. It solved graduate-level mathematics problems that took human researchers years to crack. And it did all of this in seconds. But that's not the part that broke the world order. The part that broke the world order is what happened next. In the Pentagon, in the Kremlin, in the boardrooms of central banks, and in the intelligence agencies of 37 different countries, when they all realized the same thing at the same moment. The rules that governed the world for 80 years just became obsolete. And no one had written new ones. The world you live in was designed in 1945. That's not an exaggeration. The United Nations, NATO, the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, the entire framework of international law, trade agreements, and military alliances, all of it was built in the ashes of World War II by men who communicated by telegraph and telephone. That system held. Through the Cold War, through the collapse of the Soviet Union, through the rise of the Internet, through 9/11 and the wars that followed. For nearly 8 decades, the basic architecture of global power remained intact. Nations competed through armies, economies, and diplomacy. Power was measured in aircraft carriers, GDP, and nuclear warheads. Everyone understood the rules. Everyone knew the game. Then artificial intelligence entered the room. And the game stopped making sense. Because AI doesn't respect borders. It doesn't care about treaties. It doesn't follow the logic of deterrence that kept nuclear powers from annihilating each other for half a century. And it moves at a speed that makes human decision-making, the very foundation of every institution we've built, dangerously slow. The world order didn't break on a single day. Cracked in 1,000 places at once. And by the time the people in charge noticed the fractures, the damage was already structural. Here's what they saw. In late 2022, something unusual started happening in global financial markets. Trading algorithms, AI systems designed to buy and sell assets at superhuman speed, began behaving in ways their creators didn't fully understand. Flash crashes, bizarre correlations, movements in currency markets that didn't match any known economic model. On 3 separate occasions, circuit breakers were triggered on major exchanges when AI-driven trades cascaded faster than human regulators could respond. Publicly, officials blamed technical glitches. Privately, a very different conversation was happening. A classified briefing delivered to the U.S. Treasury Department warned that AI trading systems had become so complex and so interconnected that no single government or institution could predict their behavior. The global financial system, trillions of dollars moving every day, was increasingly being managed by machines talking to other machines, making decisions in microseconds based on patterns no human could see. The humans were still sitting in the chairs, but they were no longer driving, and finance was only the beginning. In the intelligence world, something even more unsettling was unfolding. For decades, espionage operated on a basic principle. Secrets were kept by people. You recruited spies. You intercepted communications. You bribed officials. Human intelligence was the coin of the realm. AI obliterated that model. Open source intelligence, data scraped from satellites, social media, shipping records, flight patterns, and 1,000 other publicly available sources, could now be analyzed by AI systems to reveal secrets that used to require a network of human spies to uncover. Troop movements, weapons development, economic vulnerabilities, political instabilities. A research team at Stanford demonstrated that commercially available satellite imagery, analyzed by a machine learning model, could accurately estimate the GDP of any country on Earth. Another team showed that AI could predict political unrest weeks before it happened, just by analyzing social media sentiment and economic data. Intelligence agencies that had spent decades building human networks suddenly found themselves outperformed by a graduate student with a laptop and the right algorithm. But the real earthquake was happening in the military domain. In February 2023, a 4-star U.S. general made a statement that should have been front-page news everywhere. He told a congressional committee that AI-enabled autonomous systems would fundamentally change the nature of warfare within 5 years. Not 20, not 10, 5. He was talking about drones. Swarms of them, Thousands of small, cheap, AI-guided drones that could overwhelm any traditional air defense system. He was talking about cyber weapons that could learn and adapt in real time. He was talking about decision support systems that could analyze a battlefield and recommend strategy faster than any human commander. And he admitted something remarkable. The United States was not sure it was ahead. The moment everything truly shifted can be traced to a 72-hour period that most of the world experienced as entertainment news. In March 2023, GPT-4 was released. Millions of people played with it. They asked it to write poems, to plan vacations, to debug code. Social media was flooded with screenshots, hot takes, memes. But behind the viral novelty, a shockwave was ripping through every major power structure on the planet. Military strategists realized that large language models could be adapted for battlefield command, synthesizing intelligence reports, predicting enemy behavior, coordinating logistics across theaters of war in real time. Intelligence officials realized that these models could analyze intercepted communications in dozens of languages simultaneously, identifying threats that human analysts would take weeks to find. Economic planners realized that AI could model entire national economies, simulate the impact of sanctions, predict supply chain disruptions, and identify vulnerabilities in rival nations, all in hours. And authoritarian governments realized something perhaps more consequential than all of it. AI could be used to maintain control over populations at a scale and precision that no secret police force in history had ever achieved. Not the Stasi, not the KGB, not the Ministry of State Security. Every surveillance camera becomes intelligent. Every digital transaction becomes data. Every social media post becomes a signal. And AI can process all of it, in real time, for every citizen, every single day. This was the turning point, not because the technology was new, but because in that 72-hour window, every government on Earth simultaneously understood that AI wasn't a tool anymore. It was the new terrain of power, and whoever mastered it first would rewrite the rules for everyone else. Within weeks, emergency meetings were convened at NATO headquarters. The European Union fast-tracked AI legislation. China accelerated classified military AI programs. Russia, despite its war in Ukraine draining resources, redirected funding into AI-driven electronic warfare. India launched a national AI mission with defense applications at its core. The old world order was built on a simple premise that power flows from the barrel of a gun, backed by the wealth of a nation, legitimized by the consent of alliances. AI broke all three pillars at once. Guns are becoming autonomous. Wealth is becoming algorithmic. And alliances are fracturing because no nation trusts another nation's AI. Here is what almost no one is saying out loud. The world order didn't just break because AI is powerful. It broke because AI is uncontrollable in the way the old system requires. Nuclear weapons could be counted. You could sit across a table from your adversary and verify how many warheads they had. That's what arms control was built on. Counting, verifying, trusting but checking. You cannot count AI. You cannot inspect a neural network the way you inspect a missile silo. You cannot verify what a model has been trained on. You cannot monitor what an algorithm is doing inside a classified server farm in another country. There is no satellite that can photograph a nation's AI capability. There is no treaty framework that can limit what a language model knows. AI is invisible, copyable, improvable overnight, and its most dangerous applications look identical to its most benign ones. The same model that helps a doctor diagnose cancer can help a military planner identify human targets. The same system that optimizes a supply chain can destabilize an enemy's economy. The same algorithm that recommends your next video can be tuned to radicalize a population. This is why the old world order is broken. Because every mechanism we built to manage rivalry between nations, every treaty, every inspection regime, every diplomatic channel was designed for a world where power was physical and countable. AI is neither, and there's a deeper problem still. The entities developing the most powerful AI systems are not governments. They're corporations. Private companies with more computing power than most nations. Companies that operate across borders, answer to shareholders, and make decisions based on quarterly earnings. OpenAI, Google DeepMind, Anthropic, Meta. These organizations are building systems of extraordinary power with minimal democratic oversight. They employ more top AI researchers than most governments. They control more specialized computing hardware than most militaries. The world order was built on the assumption that nation-states are the primary actors on the global stage. AI has introduced new players that don't fit into any existing framework. They're not countries. They're not militaries. They're not international organizations. They're something entirely new. And no one knows how to govern them. So what happens now? Some of the smartest people alive are terrified. And not just about killer robots or job losses. They're terrified about something more fundamental. Speed. The world order depends on human deliberation. Diplomats negotiate. Leaders consult. Committees review. This process is slow by design. Slowness is a feature, not a bug. Prevents catastrophic mistakes. It allows for reflection. It creates space for compromise. AI operates at a speed that makes human deliberation impossible. An AI-driven cyber attack can penetrate critical infrastructure in milliseconds. An AI trading algorithm can trigger a financial crisis before a regulator finishes reading an email. An autonomous weapons system can make a lethal decision before a commander picks up the phone. What happens when a crisis erupts between two nuclear powers, and both sides are relying on AI systems that move faster than their leaders can think? What happens when an AI misidentifies a satellite launch as a missile strike and initiates a response chain before any human can intervene? This is not theoretical. Military planners on every continent are wrestling with this exact scenario right now. And the truly sobering part is this. We are in a transition period. The old rules are crumbling. The new rules don't exist yet. And in the gap between the old world and the new one, the risk of catastrophic miscalculation is higher than it has been at any point since the Cuban Missile Crisis. Except this time, the missiles can think for themselves. Nations are racing to develop AI because they're terrified of falling behind. But the faster they race, the less time they have to build safeguards. And the fewer safeguards they build, the more dangerous the technology becomes. It's a trap. And every major power on Earth is walking into it with open eyes, because the alternative, slowing down while your adversary speeds up, feels like surrender. The world order that kept relative peace for 80 years was imperfect. It was messy and unequal and often unjust. But it had one virtue that we are about to lose. It was built for humans. The next world order will be built for machines. Or by them. We are standing at the hinge of history. The door is swinging. And the question that should keep every person on this planet awake at night is not whether AI will reshape the world order. It already has. The question is whether anyone, any government, any institution, any human being is still in a position to decide what comes next. Or whether that decision has already been made for us, in server rooms we'll never see, by systems we'll never fully understand, at a speed we can no longer match. The world order didn't break with a bang. It broke with a prompt.